Tesla price cuts have come and are continuing to come, or so it seems. But does that mean the 3 and Y and all the other cars that you might actually want to get are going to see price cuts too? Strong maybe. Let's discuss it. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. A quick thanks to upgrading patron Eric and new patron Froman Anderson. Guys, without your support, I could not do this channel. YouTube pays famously F all because they are one of, if not the, devil. It's fine. This is how I do it. Patreon, Twitter subscriptions, and YouTube memberships. Thank you for your support. So did you know that Tesla made further price cuts in China on the S and X? Well, this is very recent. Yeah. And they also made price cuts on the Model Y just a couple days ago. That's a big deal. Is this flagging demand? Is this the end of the road? Not at all. There's 4 factories that make Model Ys. There's 2 factories that make Model 3s. These price cuts were kind of expected. You can't grow the market to infinity without reducing prices. You just can't. We know that. But the Model S and X, cutting the prices, well, part of it is they made a cheaper version. Boy, that's a great look you got there, TechCrunch. It's a standard range. It's a software limited pack that gives you still reasonable range, at least for the Model S. The Model X down at 260, not as exciting, but it's still a price cut and it still counts. And it's still a car that for a lot of people will work. Now, I had a guy on Twitter get very angry and say, how would you feel, Brian, if your iPhone, if you bought an iPhone and one of the cameras was disabled unless you paid more? Well, did I know that when I bought it? Then I'd be fine with it. I buy things that have features disabled all the time. It's just like the heated rear seats. That's what the actual conversation was about. How dare they paywall heated rear seats? The hardware's already in there. Well, yes, but that's also true of the full self-driving. All the features are there, but I haven't paid for them, so why would I get mad that I didn't get them, I guess? This isn't the first time Tesla has sold a software-limited battery pack. The beauty with all of these features is, if it's a deal breaker for the next buyer, for the person who buys your car when you sell it, it's there. It's still there. They can just add it. They can go in and just click a couple buttons and away we go. It's in. That's great. I'm not going to buy heated rear seats. I don't need them. I don't want them. But the next buyer might. And if it's cheaper for them to make one car without extra variants than it is to put it in all the cars, fine. Why would I care? I would love it if some of the safety features available on the next trim level up of my Nissan Quest were software unlockable. There's no blind spot detection on my car. There's no heated side mirrors. I'd love to have those features. They're not there. Not at all. Not at any price. It's dumb. Kind of wish they were. Price cuts are coming. But if this car is so hot, the Models S and X, why are they cutting the prices? Because they gotta. Because there's a lot of competition in this space. You've got Lucid, who's been aggressively cutting prices from $82,400. That's a reasonable price for a pretty fancy car without panoramic glass. The Taycan, it's lovely. And I had someone give me a hard time about the pronunciation. Fine, the Toucan. Call it what you like. There's the Audi e-tron. There's the BMW i7. There's the Mercedes EQS. There is a lot of competition in the luxury SUV and sedan space for EVs. A lot of good cars here. Some you might like more than others. Some you might not. It's not... The Mercedes is outselling the Lucid. So if you want to say that the Lucid is more comfortable, it has better performance, all that, maybe. But the buyers don't seem to care. It's not affecting them. The Audi, yes, all good choices. So what about the Model Y? Specifically, what about the Model Y in the US? Are price cuts a coming? And I'm going to tell you the answer is yes. Now, I made a video just yesterday, maybe, recently, about my opportunity to drive a 7-seat Model Y and how I wasn't going to be able to buy one because I am, in common parlance, I believe, broke is the word. It's just too much money. That car would, like all magical beasts, eat me alive. So that's fine, but I'll get one probably at some point, maybe, if the price gets right. So what we're looking at is auto loans. How much are auto loans? Ooh, anywhere from 6 to 25%. Well, let's narrow it down. Say not used and not refinance. Yowzers. Yowzers. There's got to be better deals than that, right? It's pretty high. 6%. A lot of these don't have good data. 5.5%. We'll say 5 to 8%. Fair? So let's say it's 50,000, $5,000 down, and no trade-in. Let's just do that. Some sales tax on there. Now, you might qualify for federal or local incentives, but you might not. A lot of places don't. Payment's $859 at 5.5%. $859. Ugh. And then if we bump it up to 8.5% interest, now we're looking at $923 a month. That's not a reasonable amount. That's not. That's what rent was just a few years ago. That's not reasonable. That's too much. But can it go lower, and will it go lower? And the answer is yes and yes. Texas, I had believed, was ramping, but it turns out they are not yet ramping. When they started working on lines 2 and 3 for production, they went ahead and scaled back on line 1. So what that meant was, I thought, well, they'll kill the graveyard shift, the third shift for line 1, and when they move people over to lines 2 and 3, it'll just all start ramping up. And it hasn't. It is 3,456 cars they're targeting. That's how many of a particular part. A friend of mine, very kind gentleman, was gracious enough to share that a part that they sell to Tesla, and they are the only company that sells it, have been shipping consistently 3,456 of them. Now, you're going to have some shrink. Some will break, so let's just say 3,450 a week. The point is, production in Texas has not increased, but it's gonna. They've got one line running at kind of full speed and 2 lines starting to ramp up. This production is going to triple in short order. When it does, the prices will fall. I was asked the other day, the UAW may be going on strike. Does this affect parts suppliers as well? Some of those are surely union shops, but is there an impact? So I reached out to a friend of mine in Michigan who is retired from the union, and what he told me is, yes, it could affect Tesla to the upside. All of a sudden, a shop who's doing orders for Ford or GM might not have any orders to fill for them. Tesla gets 100% of the priority. So if there is a strike, it will not negatively impact Tesla. And there are very few suppliers that work exclusively with one of the big 3. Most of them are diversified. They work with Ford and GM and Rivian and Lucid, for example. Because nobody wants to put all their eggs in one basket. That's a crazy. So production will increase. If we've got 2 lines making Model Y in Fremont and currently just 1 line making Model Y in Texas, that's 3 lines. We're going to add 2 more whole lines. We're going to increase production by 50, 60%. That's a lot of units. Price will have to come down. And price will also have to come down because there's a whole lot of cars on the market. Now, this is an imperfect barometer, but it is a barometer, Auto Trader. So I went and looked at the other cars available on the market to see what prices had to go down. And I put in new Ford Mach-E for sale in 90210 because I'm a bit of a smartass. Yeah, I think you might have known that. 12,634 results nationwide. These are pretty good cars at pretty good prices, and they're not moving. Not the way you'd want them to. Now, not all of these may be as available as it might seem. Again, an imperfect barometer, but a barometer nonetheless. Volkswagen ID, 4. What do we got? 8,000 results. At, again, it's a pretty good car at a pretty good price, and it pretty much isn't selling. So you're competing with other cars. You're competing with everybody. You're also competing with gas cars. And of course, we've got, what have we got here? The Hyundai Ioniq 5. Same kind of deal. Thousands available for sale right now. Kia EV6. Thousands available for sale right now. So these prices, and again, some of these may have some shenanigan prices in there where you go, oh, well, that's actually with the $7,500 discount. That could be. But even still, the MSRP of $44,000, quite reasonable for a pretty good, pretty compelling car that I think looks nice. It's a matter of taste, personally. As you know, I have none, but it's a pretty good car. And pages of results. All over the country, they're sitting on lots. So will pricing come down on the Model Y? Yeah, it's gotta. And they've got the margin to play with. As the new lines come on, efficiencies will increase, volume pricing will improve. The recipe is there for this to work. Then we've got the Model 3. Is the price going to drop? Probably not. It's probably going to come out as a Highland. It's probably going to bump up the margins, at least in the beginning, because why wouldn't it? You've got a fresh round of demand. Get them out the door at whatever price people will pay, especially while they're still ramping up. The SNX have already seen their prices fall a bit. Fantastic. So what that leaves is an opportunity in the next 6 to 12 months to see interest rates start coming back down again. And as the rates start coming back down again, the amount of payment you can handle goes up. Because if rates go from 8.5%, 9%, and 20%, I don't know. The lower the payment, the lower the rate, the lower the payment, the more car you can afford for the same monthly nut. So what did I miss? What did I misunderstand? I'll leave it into the comments below. Stay tuned and juicy. You know all that stuff. And my big question for you is, what is your price? If you were going to buy one that you don't even need, what price would it need to be for you to buy another Model Y? To buy one right now. Buy one for a son or daughter. Buy one for the vicar at your church. I don't know. Or just upgrade your own. What price would it need to hit? Let me know. Stay tuned. Stay juicy. You know. All that good stuff. Can't wait to hear from you clever robots in the comments.